Hi guys, so we're going to be thinking here about the LCM, which is an acronym that stands for the least common multiple. So when thinking about the least common multiple, we can think that another way of thinking about it is it's the smallest number, specifically positive number, that is a multiple of two or more numbers. Okay, so if you have the number 3 and you have the number 4, right? If you count by threes and you count by fours, we want to know what is the first number that they'll share. That's a multiple of both of them. So if we kind of keep going with that, we can think about how the LCM, the least common multiple, is similar to the greatest common factor, the GCF. And one thing is that the LCM to find it and the GCF to find it has to be a comparison, right? So you need at least two numbers to compare. Like in their last example, 3 and 4, we have to have two numbers at least to compare. You can have more, but you need at least two. Both are helpful when you are sort of manipulating and working with fractions. If you're operating on fractions, if you are finding equivalent fractions, the GCF and the LCM can both be helpful. Both can also help you find ways that whole numbers relate to each other or maybe don't relate to each other, right? If only one and itself, if you have a prime number as one of your numbers in your comparison, right? If you're trying to find the LCM or GCF, then maybe they won't necessarily relate to each other. So when we think about the listing strategy, or sorry, when we think about the LCM and how it's different from the GCF, we can also think about that one is based upon, right? The GCF is based upon what can divide evenly into two numbers, right? So it goes low, 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 right? To find the greatest common factor, we're going to be factoring so it gets low. While to find the LCM, multiples multiply. So to find the LCM, it depends on what number shared between two integers, right? Integers are positive or negative numbers, but they're always whole, can be divided by those two numbers, right? So multiples multiply, and factors go low, and those can both help us when we're thinking about the LCM and the GCF. So when we think here about the listing strategy, we are going to have a little bit of a visual here. So you can see that the listing strategy is going to require you to do just that. So if we have 3 and 5 as our first numbers that we want to compare, and we want to find the least common multiple, we know multiply high, right? We're going to multiply and we're going to essentially skip count. Numbers are going to be higher. So I've put the first 10 multiples of 3 and the first 10 multiples of 5 here, just skip counting. Then we're going to circle all the multiples that they have in common. So I'm going to look and 3, no, 6, no, 9, no, 12, no. Ooh, but 15 they have in common. So I'm going to circle that. 18, no, 21, no, 24, no. Ooh, but we have 30. Okay, so circle all the multiples they have in common, and then we're going to list them. So we have 15 and we have 30. And then to find the least common multiple, right, smallest shared multiple, we are going to simply look on our list as to what's the smallest. So the least common multiple between 3 and 5 is 15, using the listing strategy here. You'll also notice that this happens to be the answer to when you multiply these two. You will always get a multiple of two numbers when you multiply them together. It just won't always be the smallest. It won't always get you your least common multiple. So, what your mission is here is to think about your top three notes of importance about what you think about when using that listing strategy. So, you can put your own example here, or you can use the example from this video and from this slide here. And then you can put your top three notes of what you want to remember when working with the listing strategy.